We're Metz's Hart-Land Creamery. I'm Mariann, I'm one of the owners. This is our storefront area. We have a variety of products. We have block cheese, string cheese, cheese curds, and gelato. And then we have some, we bottle honey here, and then we have some other local Minnesota products, just supporting other local small farmsteads or businesses. Today we're making cheese curds. We'll be making a total of about 700 pounds of cheese today. And we make all our cheese to order, so it's fresh, stays fresh. We make weekly, deliver weekly. And the reason we started doing this was about 8 years ago. All of our children decided that they wanted to be a part of the farm, and rather than add more cows and try to find more land, my husband had milked for 30 years. He decided to do the value added. It was always in the back of his mind. So we did a lot of research, looked in store deli cases and stood there and took notes of what was missing in southeast Minnesota. What was missing was fresh cheese curds. So that was our main product to start with. So 6 years ago in July 2014, we made our first vat of cheese curds. And we've grown ever since. We've added different products, as you've seen through our store. But so this has helped us diversify and keep all 4 of our children in the farm. 3 are on the dairy side, 1 is on the creamery side with us. So that's how it all got started. He's in the process right now of slabbing cheese. He's flipping slabs on the other side. This big vat holds about 400 gallons of milk. The little vat holds about 200 gallons of milk. And out of that, we will get about 750 pounds of cheese today. And they're making curds and block. So you'll see in the back there's some forms. All cheddar cheese is starts out as a cheese curd. So it's just pressed together and then it forms a block, and then we age it. So we're working on getting ready for our holiday season. We've been doing that for the last 3 months. So.
You can see our different breeds. We've got Jerseys and Holsteins. We also have a red Holsteins, and then we also have brown Swiss. We have basically 4 different breeds in here. Right now, they're just getting fed for the day here. Enough feed is dumped to last 24 hours. The feed is a mixture of corn silage, alfalfa hay, sorghum Sudan grass, corn, vitamins, minerals, the whey we feed back to our cows from our cheese making, and canola meal. And there's also some distiller's grain in that. The collars you see on those cows are a measure activity. They send a signal back to a computer in our barn office. Each cow is monitored. If their activity drops, we know that they maybe have a health issue going on. So then we take that cow and put her into a separate pen, check her out, or have the veterinarian come look at her, make sure everything's okay with her. We also, if the activity goes up, one of the things that's important in dairy production is reproduction, and so we have the cows, we know that that cow is really active, and so we'll have her bred artificially. We select bulls. We have a mating program. My daughter takes care of selecting bulls, and we breed a lot of our cows right now to bulls that have the A2 component, and then also we look at herd health components and other milk solids in milk production. So that's what we work with.
What's the biggest impact of the A2 component?
Right now there's some growing interest and market demand in that component because of I'm not sure how much scientific data is behind it, but they're finding right now that preliminary studies that people who are lactose intolerant can consume A2 milk and not have any issues or minimal effects. So that's something we want to look at gearing towards if that's there's an opportunity in that market. So we have 235 cows here. There's about 190 kept in the freestall barn right now. And then we also have cows in another lot that we call our dry cows. At the end of their lactation, 60 days before they're gonna have a calf, we quit milking them, which is called drying off in dairyman's layman term. And then prior to a week or two before calving, they come back what we call the maternity pen, and then they'll have a calf, and then we start the whole process over again of milking them. And we have sand bedding in our free stalls. Everything we use sand bedding. It's an inorganic bedding, so it doesn't grow bacteria. Cows love it. It's very comfortable, keeps them clean. It's easy to maintain. In the summertime, we have fans going in here and keep the cows cool, keep the airflow moving. Then we also have a manure storage area out here where we scrape all the manure to, and then we'll empty that out, and that gets hauled out onto the fields, and it's counted as part of our fertilizer program for growing all of our crops that we feed the cows to. So kind of a complete cycle: manure, growing the crops, and feeding the crops to the cows, and producing the milk and making the cheese and feeding the whey back to the cows. And we raise pretty much all of our forages, and then we buy our grain corn and like the canola meal, vitamins, minerals. We have use a nutrition program. We have a feed man that has a computerized program that balances out the diet for our cows so that they're always getting the right level of vitamins and minerals, protein, energy, amino acids. So very, very complete diet for the cows. So the feed that you saw that was in front of the cows goes into a mixer. It's like a giant blender, and everything will get blended in the mixer. So every time the cow is taking a bite of feed, she's always getting a little bit of her vitamins, a little bit of her minerals, a little bit of her hay, a little bit of her corn. So we measure their feed intake in what they call dry matter pounds. So right now the average cow in our herd is eating about 55 pounds of dry matter. So right now what he was putting in there was our corn silage.
What is your average milk daily pounds produced?
We're averaging about 70 pounds, 68 to 70 pounds a day. The Jerseys we've got give less milk, higher butterfat, higher protein. The Holsteins we have give more pounds of milk, a little less butterfat, a little less protein. So blending the two together, we get kind of the composition of solids that help make our cheese kind of unique. So.
What is your favorite part about your business?
Having the family involved, meeting people, just working outdoors at times, the nature part of it, you know, delivering a new calf, seeing the calf born take its breath for the first time, watching our crops grow, you know, planting in the spring and having a successful harvest in the fall. Well, kind of a combination of all that. So over here we've got when people come to visit, we've got a little playground for kids and stuff. Even big people will hop up non-farm people will hop up in the combine cab just to see what it's all about. And then we raise our calves are back here. We keep them in hutches until they're about 8 weeks old. Then they get weaned off of milk, and then they go into a group setting and raised together from there. In the winter time, they'll also get jackets. We actually put a coat on them to help keep them warm and stuff. So you'll come out here a month from now or 2 months from now, depending upon the weather, you'll actually see all of our calves wearing jackets. This little calf here would be about 3 weeks old. So if they get bottles, they get about 3 quarts of milk twice a day. Then they also get a grain mix, corn, vitamins, and a little bit of oats in that, and protein. And these calves here are the Holstein breed. So in here, this is where we milk the cows. We can do 12 on each side, and then we milk the cows between the legs. The milker unit has sensors in it, so we'll put the unit on a cow after we go through a prep procedure of sanitizing the teats, wiping her clean, checking the milk for any abnormalities. Then we will attach the unit on to the cow's udder. There's a sensor in here that measures milk flow. When the milk flow gets down to a certain point, then the vacuum is shut off and the unit is retracted up, and then we will come through and then dip that cow with a sanitizing solution. And then when all 12 cows are done, we'll push this button here and they will all exit, and they go back to what we call a freestall barn, and then where they'll have their food and water and be able to lay down. We'll reset the parlor and bring in the next cows and milk those. So we have a process that takes about 2.5 to 3 hours for milking cows. We can do about 72 cows an hour is what we milk. It's a lot safer for milking between the legs for cows, and they actually everything we learned back in 2008 from the salespeople and everybody we talked to, that cows like to be standing next to each other, and your cow flow is really good through a parallel, this is called a parallel parlor. Those buckets we milk if there's what we call treated cows. So if we do use antibiotics on a cow, we put that milk into those buckets, and it's kept separate and either fed to calves or dumped down the drain. It cannot go into our bulk tanks or cheese making or be sold or anything like that. So, and then we do test our cows if they've been treated with antibiotics. We do test the milk and make sure that they're free of any antibiotics before we start putting that milk in the tank with the rest of the cow's milk and commingling it. So the milk, so when that cow is getting milked, it goes into this pipe down here, and it's sloped all the way around, comes down, and it goes right into this, what we call a receiver group here, receiver jar. There's a pump in there that pumps that milk up through that line above, and it goes all the way in and goes into the milk house and into the storage tank. So we have compressors on the bulk tank. They cool it down. And then we also have what's called a plate cooler, similar to like a radiator system where every other plate has our well water going through it. And then the plates on each side of those plates have the milk going through it. So it pre-cools. It takes the milk down from the cow's body temperature of 101 down to about 55, 60 degrees. then the compressors just cool it the rest of the way down to 38 degrees. And then that water we actually use for washing down the parlor for cleaning, and then also is hooked up to water lines going back out to, for the cows to drink it. So this is what we call our holding area out here. Cows are brought up. This is where they stand to be milked. And up there is what we call our maternity area, or where we keep any special needs cows if they are ill or anything like that. Need to be checked out by the veterinarian. So summertime, right now we got the curtains down. We'll probably be closing those the rest of the way. Summertime's wide open, so we got lots of airflow, keeps it nice and cool in here. And the gate in the background is called a crowd gate, and that actually brings the cows forward. So there's a bell on it, and it keeps moving them up, so a person doesn't have to keep coming out here to get the cows all the time.